Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Matthew here. Yeah, we're gonna sing a song. I'm in my PJs today. Didn't really get out of the house. That's all right. So the song I'm gonna sing is "I'm So Secure," and the lyrics are in the description below. So yeah, if you want to sing along, you're more than welcome to. I'm so secure. I'm so secure. You're here with me. You stay the same. Your love remains here in my heart. I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. Gave you life. You gave your life in your endless love. You set me free, and you showed the way. Here in my heart, I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. All along, you were beside me, even when I couldn't stand. Through the years, you showed me all of you. More of you here in my heart. I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. I'm so close, I believe. You're holding me now in your hands. I belong. You'll never let me go. Amen. God is faithful always. Yeah, he's good. He's really good. Yeah, so the title, I hope it's not misleading. I thought it was clear, and then I thought about it, then I'm thinking over it again, I'm like, well, maybe they might interpret it incorrectly. I'm not saying you need faith for some things and not for all things. I'm saying sometimes that is what we do. Sometimes we have faith for some things and not for all things. Yeah, and I'll get to that. I'm gonna read the story of Samson. I know it's a long story. I actually should be getting going because otherwise it might not finish, and I might abridge some of the story. So it might not be word for word if we start running short on time. but we'll see. We'll see what happens. If you want to follow along, we're going to read in Judges 13, and I might skip to other places, but we're mainly going to read from here. It says, again, the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. Okay, backstory. So the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord again. This has been a reoccurring cycle. Ever since the children of Israel got into the promised land, they just did what was right in their own eyes. They didn't even follow. They stopped following God. I'm not sure what happened to Joshua. His generation just kind of died out, maybe, right? And then they just forgot. Of course, some of the traditions were still passed on, so they knew that God, at least through the stories, knew that God delivered them from the Egyptians and brought them into this land. And they knew what they weren't supposed to do and were supposed to do. But that didn't really matter. So they did what was right in their own eyes. They fell into sin, and then they would fall into bondage by some people, the Philistines in this case, in the story of Samson. But it could have been a bunch of other people too. There's more than just the Philistines in the Promised Land, because they didn't take all of the Promised Land. When they went into the Promised Land, they only took about a third, I don't know, some around there. They didn't take hardly any of it, right? Well, they took a lot of it, but they didn't take nearly as much as they should have, right? Well, I guess the idea was that over time they would start taking more and more of it as the people grew in size. They could expand to the whole of the Promised Land, but that never happened because they just decided to worship the foreign gods and the idols there in that land, and they got seduced by the people there and their practices that were more sensual based, and so they fell into sin, and then they fell into bondage because it's really easy to do. It's really easy to fall. That's like step 1, step 2, right? Step 1, you fall into sin. Step 2, you kind of lose that purpose. You lose that vision in your life, and if that's lost, then it's really easy just to become subjected to other people. So that's what happened. So sin, bondage, and then they would cry out to God, and then God would raise up a judge to deliver his people, and then the cycle would repeat. Then they would sin, and then go into bondage and cry out to God. So this is kind of the beginning of that cycle again. So the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. Okay. And so God was preparing it's funny because it's like, it's always like an even number. It's like 40 years or 20 years or something. It's almost intentional. It's like God planned it. It's pretty interesting. It's like you need to be in bondage for this amount of time. So now there was a certain man from Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had no children. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, "Indeed, now you are barren and have borne no children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Now, therefore, please be careful not to drink wine or similar drink, and not to eat anything unclean. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb. And he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines." Okay. Nazarite. What does that mean? It's back in the Old Testament. We are in the Old Testament. Back in the law, in Numbers chapter 6. It's almost the whole chapter. It talks about becoming a Nazarite, and it's typically it was a limited time vow. It had a definite period of time in which you wouldn't shave your head, you wouldn't drink wine, and you wouldn't come near dead people or anything dead. No dead bodies whatsoever. Not even if it was your father or mother or sister, none of that. You couldn't even be near the dead for this period of the time of your vow. And if you did by accident, like let's say you were talking to someone and they just died of a heart attack, right? Like you would have to shave your head and then do a sin offering and a peace offering before you could restart your vow again. And that was the idea. And so, but the vow was something special, something that even Gentiles could do, right? It was not just for the Israelites, which made it very special, because not very many laws could apply to the Gentiles, but this one does in Numbers chapter 6. So it's cool. It's good. So, but in this case, Samson was supposed to be designated as a Nazirite from birth, meaning there is no definite time period in which he keeps the vow. It's indefinite, right? It's not. It seems like it would be for his whole life, until he delivered Israel from the hand of the Philistines. That was the implication. So it's just that's interesting, yeah. So verse 6. So the woman came out and told her husband, saying, "A man of God came to me, and his countenance was like the countenance of the angel of God." Very awesome. I like that. They're Californians. But I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not tell me his name. And he said to me, "Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. Now drink no wine nor similar drink, nor eat anything unclean, for the child shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb to the day of his death." Okay, so it is it is not just indefinite. It is, well, apparently I didn't read that part. It's his whole life. It's his whole life, which is different, like I said, from the Nazirite, or from the Numbers 6 Nazirite vow, which was a period of time. It wasn't your whole life. It didn't specify. It specified a beginning point and an end point. In Numbers chapter 6, you can go ahead and read that if you like. So Nazirite from the day of his death. So then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, "Oh my Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent to come to us again," "Oh my Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come to us again." There we go. "And teach us what we shall do for the child who will be born." And God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came to the woman again as she was sitting in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. Then the woman ran in haste and told her husband and said to him, "Look, the man who came to me the other day has just now appeared to me." So Manoah rose and followed his wife, and when he came to the man, he said to him, "Are you the man who spoke to this woman?" And he said, "I am." Manoah said, "Now let your words come to pass. What will the boy's rule of life and his work?" And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, "Of all the things I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor may she drink wine or similar drink, nor eat anything unclean. All that I have commanded her, let her observe." So basically, he's not saying anything new. Manoah wants to ask him a bunch of questions. He's like, okay, what's his manner of life? What's his work? What is he gonna do for a job or something? And the angel's just like, well, everything that I said to your wife, I'm just gonna repeat. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "Please let us detain you, and we will prepare a young goat for you." And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, "Though you detain me, I will not eat your food. But if you offer a burnt offering, you must offer it to the Lord." For Manoah did not know that he was an angel of the Lord, that he was the angel of the Lord. Okay, the angel of the Lord has appeared throughout the beginning part of the Bible, at least. In the law, in Genesis, he appears at least once, probably more. In Exodus, he appears, obviously. Not obvious. Exodus, he appears because in Genesis he appears to Abraham. In Exodus, he appears to Joshua. Oh no, is that Exodus? No, it's not Exodus. That's the book of Joshua that he appears to Joshua. Because he appears to him in front of... Anyway, it's several times. It's not just once or twice. Several times the angel of the Lord appears. And people have speculated that the angel of the Lord is actually Jesus before, he came down to earth as a man. The reason why they say that is that multiple times when it mentions the angel of the Lord, the people interpret it as we've seen God. We've seen God. And I'll read it here in just a second, but we've seen God and we live, because in Exodus 33, chapter 33, verse 20, it says, no man can look on the face of God and live, right? He's talking to Moses. And so this, they look at the angel's face, right, and they live, and yet they say that it's God. So it's just weird. It's just I don't know. People think it's Jesus. That's what I'm saying. There's no definitive proof that it's Jesus, but there's some, evidence there for sure. So Manoah asked the angel, "What's your name?" What is your name, that when your words come to pass, we may honor you? And the angel of the Lord said to him, "Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful?" That's quite the statement. Then Manoah just okay, next subject. So then Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it upon the rock to the Lord. And he did a wondrous thing while Manoah and his wife looked on. It happened as the flame went up toward heaven from the altar. The angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. I don't know how that looked, but that does sound pretty awesome. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell on their faces to the ground. When the angel of the Lord appeared no more to Manoah and his wife, then Manoah knew that he was the angel of the Lord. So it's special. They know of the angel of the Lord as well. And Manoah said to his wife, "We shall surely die because we have seen God." You'd think it would just be an angel, but no, we've seen God. An angel, the word angel means is messenger. So, man, I'm not going very fast. Let me keep going. But his wife said to him, "If the Lord has desired to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all these things, nor would he have told us such things as these at this time." So the woman bore a son and called his name Samson, and the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move upon him at Mahane Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. Okay. Now Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman of Timnah, of the daughters of the Philistines. He went up and told his father and mother, saying, "I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore, get her for me as a wife." And his father and mother are like, "Is there no woman among the daughters of your brethren, or among all the people, that you must go and get a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines?" And Samson said to her, "Get her for me, for she pleases me well." But his father and mother did not know this was of the Lord, that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Now look, Samson, he's a Nazarite from birth. I don't know how old he is at this time, but probably in his teens, maybe more, maybe older. And obviously, if he's looking for a wife, he's at least 16, probably older. And so it's just interesting to me that Samson's kind of just doing whatever he wants to do. He's doing what he wants to do. He's just like, yeah, I'll get a wife from the Philistines. It doesn't seem honoring to God. No, not really. But he's doing it anyway. Obviously, it's from the Lord, it says here, that he's seeking an occasion against the Philistines. But Samson, all throughout his life, it seems, I mean, we only know his first few verses. But it seems like he's doing whatever he wants. As we continue to read, he just continues to do whatever he wants to do. So Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother and came to the vineyards of Timnah. Now, to his surprise, a young lion came roaring against him. Okay, so it seems like his father and mother are with him, but okay. We'll continue. Now, to his surprise, a young lion came roaring against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he tore the lion apart as one would have torn apart a young goat. I didn't know you could tear apart a young goat that easy. I didn't know that was a thing. I tore apart this young goat, just like I did this lion. Okay, obviously, young goat's pretty small. I mean, it would take some measure of strength, but yeah. So he tore apart the lion as he would have a young goat, but he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. So apparently, his father and mother, although going with him, are not like with him. Like maybe they're in the company of like a lot of people. I don't know. It seems weird. So his father are with him, but not with him. Like, okay. Because he didn't tell his father and mother what he did, because guess what? That's a dead thing. That's a dead animal. Samson broke his vow. Boom. Typically, you would have to shave your head. Typically. But Samson's not a typical case, because he was a judge from the time of birth, a Nazarite. And so I don't know all the specifics, but Samson clearly broke his vow here. Accidentally, of course, but he still did. And after some time, when he returned to get her, he turned aside. So he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. Then he came back. After some time, he returned to get her. He turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion. At that point, I would just probably leave. But no, he took his hand. He took some of it, the honey, in his hand and went along eating. It's in the carcass of a lion, and he went. I mean, obviously the honey's maybe separate from the lion, but what the? Not only did he kill this lion, he went back to inspect it. Went back to the dead lion and then like reached his hand in. So this time he intentionally broke his vow. When he came to father and mother, he gave some of the honey to them. I don't know what he stored it in, but he gave some of the honey to them, and they also ate of this honey that was in the carcass of the dead lion. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So his father went down to the woman, and Samson gave a feast for young men used to do. Okay, so I'm gonna start abbreviating now. Samson had this feast, and these Philistines, and he gave this riddle. And the riddle was, out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet, referencing the lion and the bees and the honey and the lion carcass. And so, and he's like, if you can solve this riddle, then you give me 30 sets of clothing. And if you can't solve this, if you can't solve this riddle, you give me 30 sets of clothing. If you can solve this riddle, I will give you 30 sets of clothing. And so for like 3 days, they were trying to solve it with no luck. And the festivals, the wedding feast is 7 days. And so they bug his wife for like 4 days straight. And so his wife bugged Samson for 4 days straight, because the people are like, if you don't get your husband to tell you the answer, and then you tell us the answer, then we'll kill you and your father. It's pretty severe. So she didn't. I mean, you think she might have just told Samson, but no. She's got fear or something. It was, whatever. Strong influences saying not to. So she just bugged Samson for 4 days until Samson told her. On the 7th day, he told her what the riddle meant, even though he hadn't even told his parents yet. And so the woman told the Philistines. The Philistines then answer the riddle before the time limit. And Samson gets frustrated because he's like, obviously my wife told you. You're too stupid to figure this out on your own. And so he goes down. He kills 30 Philistines down in Ashkelon, just this other town a little bit of ways. Kills 30 Philistines, like strips them of their clothing, and then gives it to these guys to fulfill his bet. So, however, he was a little angry, and went back to his father's house for a short time, and then he brought a goat, right, back to his wife, because the 7 days isn't just like a precursor to the marriage. You got married on the first day, and then like a celebration for 7 days happened because of the marriage, right? And you were with her, and you consummated your marriage, right? For in the midst of those 7 days. But as it so happens, they thought Samson was so angry with his wife that they just gave his wife to Samson's best man. And so Samson got even angrier and said, I will get my revenge, right? Basically. I might have to continue this next week. I don't have much time. I took too much time in the beginning. And he said, I will get my revenge. And then he took 300 foxes, tied them all together. Well, not all of them together. He tied a pair, their tails together with a torch, so 150 pairs of foxes with torches on their tails, and he lit them all, and he set them loose in the Philistines' fields, their wheat fields, and it burned all their fields down to the ground. So, oh gosh. So the Philistines get word of this. Now imagine the Samson's strength is amazing, right? Samson's strength is fantastic. And it seems that he just, obviously he's 300 foxes, and you release them all at the same time. I'm not sure if you're holding them with the string or what, and you just let it go, or how that happened. But that is incredible. Incredible, right? That's a lot of strength. Even though they're foxes, there's 300 of them. That's a lot. So burns their fields down. The Philistines find out that Samson did it because of the betrayal of his wife and his father-in-law, and so they kill his wife and father-in-law. Or his ex-wife, rather. Because I guess the wife was given to the companion. They burned them all to the ground, the whole family, which just seems crazy to me because Samson's the one that did it. But they killed the wife and the father-in-law, and so Samson gets even angrier, kills the people that killed them. Right? I don't know how many people, but he kills those people. And then they're like, okay, this guy is obviously strong, powerful, so they send a detachment of 1,000 troops over to get Samson. Now, I'm running through the story now, but the people from the Hebrew village, they're like, okay, Samson, because Samson's hiding at this point, but I guess they know his hiding spot. So the people of the village come down and they're like, Samson, we're going to get you, we're going to arrest you, we're going to tie you up, and we're going to deliver you to the Philistines, because otherwise they're going to kill us all. Don't you know that we're being we're ruled over by the Philistines? Why would you stir the pot? Why would you stir the hornet's nest? Right? Okay, I'm going to stop here and start, because this is important. Because people that are oppressed, they get used to it. People get used to any situation they're in, whether it's oppression or whether it's abuse or whatever it is. They get used to it. It's almost comfortable because it's the day-to-day routine. It's normal, and it's really sad. They think it's more comfortable for them, but it's just horrible, right? They're just enduring it, thinking this is normal. This is life. And Samson, he has a lot of flaws, right? I didn't read you all the things. He goes into a harlot, and he's not a moral guy. He just isn't. He's not morally sound, and he doesn't follow the law of God. He doesn't fulfill his vows very well, and he just kind of does what he wants, right? He's pretty rash person. And but despite all his flaws, despite everything that Samson is, he had faith in God. He trusted in God. Man, every time that he faced a challenge that he couldn't overcome, or maybe even if he could overcome it, every time he faced a challenge, he drew on the strength of God. He believed in God, and God gave him superhuman strength to accomplish his challenges, to finish, to complete his challenges. So Samson had this like tremendous faith in God for strength. But after he killed 1,000 people, so the Hebrews tied him up, and after promising not to kill him themselves, they tied him up. They delivered him to the Philistines, and when the Philistines were about to like grab him, he broke free of his ropes, fresh ropes, right? Broke free and grabbed the donkey, the jawbone of a donkey, and killed all 1,000 of them. Killed all 1,000 men. And after that, he was exhausted, and he needed water. And he's like, God, are you going to kill me because, I killed 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of a donkey, yet I'm going to die because of dehydration, right? Because I lack water. and so God, Samson's basically complaining to God, and then God sends water down, and like out of rock, or I can't remember how he sends water, but he like a spring shoots up, or water comes from a rock, and he's he quenches his thirst. But like, you can have faith. Samson, a man who has faith to believe in God for strength. According to Hebrews 11:32, he was in the Hall of Fame for faith, the Hall of Faith. And we'll read later on exactly what that means in chapter 16. Not today. I guess maybe next week we'll just continue. But you can have faith for some things. Like, you can have faith for God will give you strength, right? And overcome all your obstacles. But like, when you're thirsty, you can't have faith for God with water, like for water, for your basic necessities of life. It seems strange, but it's true. In all of our lives, we have faith. We have faith for certain things. Each of us who is a believer has faith in God through Jesus Christ for salvation. We believe that Jesus died again, that he died, he rose again from the dead, he ascended to heaven, and now he made a way for us to be there with him. Like faith, we believe that Jesus died for our sins. We believe that he rose again for our justification. We believe these things. We have faith for these things. For salvation, we have faith. But for some things, like daily necessities, food on our plate, I mean, obviously, as Americans, we don't need to know that. We're like, wow, we got that. But there's a lot of things we don't have faith for. If the rent's not paid, we lack faith. We're doing horrible now. Oh, man, I just can't believe it, God. Why would you let us suffer? And why? Complaining, just like Samson did. But God wants us to have faith in all regards. And everything is a growth process of faith. For everything that God says in the Bible, there's a faith that is attached to that thing that is needed. I hope that makes sense. Like, God says that to put on the armor of God. God says to put on the armor of God, put on the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith. Put on love. Here, that's a good one. Put on love. Sometimes we don't have love in our hearts for other people, but God says to put on love for them. Act out that love. And it requires faith to believe that God will give us the grace to love that person that we don't really love. Oh man, I'm not making much sense anymore. I hope I am. I hope my words are making sense. I want to finish my thoughts, but my time is running short, and so I have to cut it short. So next week I will finish this story and finish my thoughts on this. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.